And there's more statement by the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He, in fact, has gone on to say, and I'm quoting from that statement, Iran made a big mistake and it will pay for it. He's further said the regime in Iran does not understand Israel's determination to defend themselves, and it is our determination to retaliate against our enemies. Let's take a look.
אזרחי ישראל, בפתח דבריי אני שולח תנחומים למשפחות נרצחי הפיגוע הנפשע ביפו ואיחולי החלמה שלמה לפצועים. כמו במתקפת הטילים, גם מאחורי הפיגוע הזה יש יד מכוונת ורצחנית. היא מגיעה מטהרן. הערב איראן שוב תקפה את ישראל במאות טילים. המתקפה הזאת נכשלה. היא סוכלה בזכות מערך ההגנה האווירי של ישראל, שהוא המתקדם ביותר בעולם, ואני מברך את צה"ל על ההישג המרשים. היא גם סוכלה בזכות הערנות והאחריות שגיליתם אתם, אזרחי ישראל. ואני מודה גם לארצות הברית על תמיכתה במאמץ ההגנה שלנו. איראן עשתה הערב טעות גדולה, והיא תשלם על כך. המשטר באיראן לא מבין את נחישותנו להגן על עצמנו, ואת נחישותנו לגמול לאויבינו. סינואר ודף לא הבינו זאת, נסראללה ומוחסן לא הבינו זאת, וכנראה יש בטהרן אלה שלא מבינים זאת. הם יבינו. נעמוד בכלל שקבענו. מי שתוקף אותנו, אנחנו תוקפים אותו. זה נכון בכל מקום כשאנחנו נלחמים בציר הרשע. זה נכון ליהודה ושומרון, זה נכון לעזה, ללבנון, לתימן, לסוריה, וזה נכון גם לאיראן. אנחנו נלחמים בציר הרשע בכל מקום, כולל חיילינו הגיבורים שפועלים עכשיו בדרום לבנון ובעזה. היום יותר מתמיד, כוחות האור בעולם חייבים להתאחד ולפעול יחד נגד משטר האייתולות החשוך שהוא מקור הטרור והרוע באזורנו. עליהם לעמוד לצד ישראל. הבחירה מעולם לא הייתה ברורה יותר, בין העריצות לחופש, בין הברכה לכללה. בערב ראש השנה אני אומר לכם, אזרחי ישראל, ישראל בתנופה, בציר הרשע בנסיגה. נעשה כל מה שצריך כדי להמשיך מגמה זו, להשיג את כל מטרות המלחמה, ובראשם החזרת כל חטופינו, ולהבטיח את קיומנו ועתידנו. שנה טובה ופתוחה לכולכם.
And let me take this across to my colleague Siddhant Mishra, who's joining us on the broadcast early this morning. Siddhant, this message, and a stern one at that, by the Israeli Prime Minister Mr. Netanyahu is also, in a sense, a strong and direct attack at what has been allowed by Iran's supreme leader, Mr. Ayatollah Khamenei.
Well, that's right. This attack was unexpected and, in fact, uncalled for, because there were warnings from United States and other G7 countries of the consequences if Iran attacks Israel. Now, Iran and Israel have rarely got engaged directly in militarily. This is perhaps for the second time that Iran has attacked Israel by launching ballistic missiles, projectiles towards Israel. In the month of April, they did it, and at that time also, with the help of U.S. air defense systems in the Middle East, the carrier strikers, etc. Both U.S. and Israel could manage to stop it. This time around, again, more than 200 ballistic missiles were fired by Iran towards Israel. And as per the Pentagon, with the help of U.S. warships and interceptors, these missiles could be stopped. And Israel also has its own air defense systems, Iron Dome, and etc. Mm-hmm. So the casualty and the damage is minimum, and is less. In fact, but the assessment is still going on. This is perhaps has been done because there have been a lot of pile-up which was going on in terms of how Israel has invaded Lebanon. It all started with a pager attack, then airstrikes in southern Lebanon, and now the ground invasion. Also, before that, Ismail Haniya was eliminated in Tehran. Israel
Yes.
never took responsibility of that. But it's a very unsaid thing that Israel could be behind it. So Iran has retaliated. It would really be interesting to see that how Israel is going to react to it. Whether Israel will also engage Iran directly militarily. What would be US's response? Right now, the response of the US is harsh, very and it looks like US has again threatened Iran for the consequences. Back to you.
Absolutely. Siddhant, in fact, I'd request you to stay on with us. There seems to be a response by Iran after the statement by the Israeli Prime Minister. Now it is the Iranian president who, in fact, has gone on to hail the missile strike by Iran against Israel, and he goes on to call it as a decisive response to Israeli aggression. Now, the Iranian president has posted this on social media platform X, and I'm quoting from that statement. Based on legitimate rights and with the aim of peace and security for Iran and the region, a decisive response was given to the aggression of the Zionist regime. This action was in defense of the interests of the citizens of Iran. Let Netanyahu know that Iran is not a belligerent, but it stands firmly against any kind of threat. This is only a corner of our power. Do not enter into a conflict with Iran. Siddhant, this is another warning, a counter one at that, that's coming from Iran now.
Well, yes. And in fact, many experts were saying that it's not a right window for Iran to retaliate because, in fact, we also have been talking about this on our channel, that how US is busy in elections, Biden is on an exit mode, and, it's not an apt time for Iran to retaliate, and which could throw region into a larger conflict. But since Iran has retaliated now, many experts also say that this has been done to keep the domestic audience, happy, and also to send out a message that look, we can also retaliate. We can also fire rockets, missiles to Israel. And in fact, when this happened and when this was happening, there were celebrations which happened in Tehran and other parts of Iran. So it should also be seen with this viewpoint that this has been done to keep the domestic audience satisfied.
Okay.
That we can also attack Israel and we can also take the revenge. Back to you.
Thank you so much for that, Siddhant. In fact, let me now take this across to my guests who are joining us early this morning. Major General A.K. Sivach, defense expert, is with us. Also with us is Mr. Ravinder Sachdeva, who's an international affairs expert. Major General Sivach, I'll come to you first. About this particular warning, a counter warning by Iran, especially after what was said by the Israeli Prime Minister. How do you read this, sir?
Griya, see, we have to understand the situation as building up in Middle East now. There is no denying the fact that Iran was under tremendous pressure after Israel has eliminated Hassan Nasrallah. So they have to show domestically also to its militia as well as its proxies, Hezbollah, Hamas and Houthi rebels, that they can also react. Now the point is that every time this is very clear that Israel wants the Iran to come into this war. In case Iran comes into this war, then there will be entry of US. And once US come, then US and Israel are very strong compared to Iran, and its nuclear installation are going to be the targeted, also its energy sector. Now, having said so, the point was that Iran had no choice. I suppose it is more of a face saving what has been done by the Iran now. They have fired almost 200 ballistic missiles. Possibly they say it is Fateh hypersonic. But there was no surprise. The Israelis knew it that they are coming. Their Iron Dome was already alert. And also the interceptors of the ships which were there in the Red Sea of US. So 98 to 99% all these missiles have been intercepted. So as far as Iran is there, it is claiming that it has achieved its aim and it is able to strike in the heart of Israel. At the same time, Israel has proved that their Iron Dome system is impregnable and missile have not able to penetrate. Now, what will happen now? The point which comes is the ball is in the court of Israel. Now, how Israel going to react to this? See, the US does not want the situation to escalate, and especially because when they are in election mode, the president election in November. But Israel was thinking that in case Iran comes into war, it suits their domestic politics also of Netanyahu, and also it will able to suck in US. Now it all depends what will be the reaction of Israel, because Iran says very clearly they have done it what they thought is the right action. Now Israel is the one which has to do. In case Israel react and Israel react with might, then there will be escalation in Middle East, no doubt about it, and you find it then, more actors and characters coming. But certainly two things stand out, Giriya. Now, as the public opinion or the countries in Middle East were, when Israel has attacked basically on Hamas, there was a public opinion which has gone against Israel because there was casualties as far as Palestinians are concerned. But as far as Hezbollah is concerned, whatever is happening in southern Lebanon, there is not a condemnation on that. Everyone knows that Hezbollah is a militant group, and the way they have reacted. Israel is not being adversely commented on that. So I suppose Iran stand isolated. There are not too many countries even in Muslim world along with Iran. Now the question comes is what is going to be a response of Israel?
Okay, Mr. Sachdeva, do you really feel that Iran stands isolated here, especially in context of the Middle East? Because I really want to understand, and this escalation has happened especially after the killing of the Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah, and from what we see and what the experts are believing is that this has lent out a bigger blow to this entire axis of resistance than what the killing of maybe Ismail Haniyeh really ever did. And that's why you're seeing this kind of an escalation by Iran, something that Israel was thinking otherwise. They thought that Iran would lie low for a bit. They will in fact weigh in their options and not really attack. Do you think it has caught both US and Israel by surprise?
I would not think so, honestly. I mean, they would know it. They would have their various war gaming scenarios and, made out. It would not. But yeah, some elements could surprise you as to the timing. That could be the quick timing of the Iranian response. That's one I would say. In the big picture, to the question that, how does one read it? This, what is happening is classical in international affairs. This is a spiral happening. The counter to the counter to the counter, it all builds up. So this spiral is building up. And this spiral is building up towards essentially targeting Iran's nuclear program. And this has been Israel's intent, even notwithstanding the Gaza Hezbollah. It's Israel's intent to prevent Iran from becoming a nuclear weapon state. Okay, and Iran is pretty close to it. So that has been Israel's game plan, and Israel has also been trying its best to rope in and pull in America into this. Israel has been pushing America not to go ahead with a nuclear agreement, of which Trump pulled out of. Because Israel says that the issue with Iran should not only be the nuclear, but also terrorism. So now what we are seeing is that it is heading towards that. So from Gaza, then Hezbollah. I mean, Gaza was a very, unpredictable, this thing which happened. But beyond that now, what Israel has decided seems to be is to, go up, go out after Hezbollah, etc. Now, there are a couple of things to this also, I would think. This helps Netanyahu politically in some very smart ways. See, he is denying Biden a peace, forget a peace treaty of ceasefire, right? Yes. Which is eroding Biden's standing or Kamala Harris standing now amongst the certain Palestinian American segments who were very upset with Harris-Biden policy in Gaza. And this indirectly, therefore, helps Trump. And for Netanyahu, it is good that Trump comes back to power. If Harris comes back, she has talked about a two-state solution. Clearly, she's saying they should be right. So Harris would be a different cookie. But if Trump comes, he's a known commodity and he'll stand with Israel the way Netanyahu and they both want. They're both, in a way, very quick and maverick. So that is one other issue playing out in parallel with respect to the timing. So this is a viral. The one thing which I think really out of the box which could happen Iran could go ahead and do a nuclear just a test. Because now the situation for Iran has come pretty, for both actually, but more for Iran, it has become very critical. So it could take some such step to convey to the world, okay, I'm a nuclear weapon state now. Though Iran has not been wanting that, and particularly
Yes.
this president is a comparative moderate, and they wanted to get over the sanctions and all. But it seems Iran has been pushed into a corner. And so, therefore, Iran has been pushed into a corner. And therefore, the spiral will go up. And as the spiral goes up, it will spread, it will draw in America. America will always be there in any case for the defense part. That it already did, right? But America will not be on the offensive part against Iran. But that could change if militias in Iraq and Syria, etc., are attacked American bases. America has about 30 to 40 bases in this region of different varieties and hues. So if some of those attacks happen, then of course America has to retaliate against those militias and then also Iran.
Okay, that's a very important point that you're making, Mr. Rubinder Sachdeva. In fact, I'd request Major General Sivest and you to just stay back and, we will speak more about the US angle, but we have got some more responses. This time it's the Iranian Foreign Minister, Syed Abbas, who has said that Iran's action against Israel concluded unless Israel invites further retaliation. He's gone on to also say that earlier this evening we exercised self-defense under Article 51 of the UN Charter, targeting solely military and security sites in charge of genocide in Gaza and Lebanon. This is what the Iranian foreign minister is saying. Major General Sivach, your views on this? They are talking about how they are targeting only the military and security sites, but from the ground reports, we also did come to know that there were certain schools that came under the attack. Can we just rubbish this aside as merely collateral? Because this was certainly not precision attacks.
Griha, no doubt. See, Iran was in dilemma. Iran had no choice but to react to whatever has happened after Hassan Nasrallah. Otherwise, Iran was losing its faith. But at the same time, Iran does not want to be sucked in this war because Iran knows that this is a trap by the Israel, and in case they get sucked in, and then the might of Israel and also the US will come, and its nuclear facility will be destroyed, energy sector will be destroyed. They are economically very weak now. There are a lot of sanctions, and very rightly brought out, Jaskian, the president is a moderator. He wants to move ahead. So now this is what has happened. But certainly 200 missiles which have been fired, they have not managed to damage anything. Collateral damage is there, but it's of not much significance because there were no surprise factor. There is a distance between Iran and Israel is almost about 2,000 kilometers. And the US has already won. Israelis were knowing. So the point today is Iran wanted to only do it just for showing off. It was not very keen to get involved into this war. Now, but the ball is in the court of Israel today. Israel has got three things to do. It has to handle Hezbollah also, because the point is that until unless it does not able to put back its displaced 70,000 Israeli in northern Israel, the problem will still continue. And second thing is to degrade the military capability of Hezbollah. That is also its main target. Now, will Israel strike back on Iran? That is a mute question. In case it do, then there will be escalation. As far as Israel is concerned, it is every time it wants that possibly Iran must be sucked into this war. Now, everything will depend upon what is the US saying. Very rightly brought out, as far as the US is concerned, Joe Biden do not want this war to escalate. It does not suit to Kamala Harris, candidate of Democrat, but certainly it will all depend on Israel. But Israel has a problem at hand. It has to sort out Hezbollah. It has to push Hezbollah to the central Lebanon from southern. And Hezbollah is not Hamas. Hezbollah is 3 to 4 times more military powerful, with 125 to 150 lakhs missile and rockets, about 1 lakh fighting troops, armored brigade. So therefore, Israel focus is also on that. So it does not want to get involved in this. But certainly, it will suit every domestic politics also of Netanyahu in case Iran gets sucked in and then also US gets sucked in.
Absolutely.
And then you will
So,
find
Mr.
it
Sachdeva,
the
about
good one is
Hezbollah, do
Iran.
you think Israel, in fact, really took it a step further? And if we also go back to this entire US angle, the fact that attacking Hezbollah, southern Lebanon, was something that was not, it completely blindsided the United States of America, something that has been sort of referred to in undertones by Antony Blinken as well. Do you think that had left them kind of swayed because they did not really want this action and escalation to be taken by Israel? That has left them slightly miffed, but they cannot do anything because the West unilaterally is going on to support Israel. They will say that on the cameras as far as the briefings are concerned. It's very, very important to show their side of support towards Israel. But do you think it's put the United States of America sort of in a tricky spot because it is joined at the hip by Israel, with Israel, but Hezbollah is no mean force? Do you think Israel really ended up underestimating Hezbollah in comparison to Hamas?
Thank you. I think along the same lines, the bigger perspective for America is that America's image is taking a hit. It is no longer a superpower which can tell Israel it's lackey to stop the war. Officially, that's what Biden, as far as words go, and as far as official statements go, Biden has been saying that, Blinken has been saying that. So America is not able to, stamp its will on its ally Israel. So that's a dilution of your, I think, overall power, power matrix. So that's the damage for America in some senses. And of course, but it indicates the various layers, as you very, very rightly pointed out. They say something, they want to do something, but the political support is there. Now, coming back to Hezbollah, Hezbollah, and ever since the Gaza war, Hezbollah was standing with the people of Gaza, and they were playing a charade. I mean, not a charade, I would say. It was really, they were launching rockets at each other at the military sites and all. It is Israel which escalated to Hezbollah initially, I think, because Israel had got stuck in Gaza. Netanyahu wants a distraction from Gaza also, by the way. If you go back to his, clear goals at the start of Gaza invasion was, we will eliminate all of Hamas. And when asked, he said, no, not only the military Hamas, the political Hamas also. They've not been able to do that. They're right. We will get all the hostages back 1 year down. Now, they've not been able to get that. Next, it was a major, major intelligence failure of Israel, that attack itself, on which a commission of inquiry has to go in. Here is a superpower, and there are these guys in pajamas and sandals and, wearing whatever, and on motorbikes and breaching your security. So Israel there at a certain time was stuck, and therefore it wanted to escalate to Hezbollah. In any case, it seemed that it could defy world opinion, it could be standing up. He has been pushing the boundaries. So Hezbollah was an escalation going on, but Nasrallah killing, I think, was a major decision to now. Okay, now Israel thinks that it has somehow managed Gaza, it seems, so that it can free up some of its military and assets and focus them towards Hezbollah to take out Hezbollah. So that's where it is, and that obviously leads to the escalations. And what Iran has been saying, it has been neglecting, of course, and what Israel says, Iran neglects, but both of them are, going on. The other thing which could happen, Lebanon could become like an Afghanistan during the Soviet times. In fact, if you go back, I was talking to a colleague of mine, the seeds of much of the ills in this world are from the 1980s, Afghanistan, when America encouraged jihadism to throw out the Soviets. If you look back really the last 40 years, that is the core where it started a lot. So anyway, that's...
Absolutely. In fact, we were just talking about the United States, Mr. Sachdeva. US, in fact, has condemned Iran's missile attack on Israel, and it has termed it totally unacceptable. Let's listen into the US President Joe Biden and also the presidential candidate of the Democrats, Kamala Harris.
At my direction, the United States military actively supported the defense of Israel, and we're still assessing the impact. But based on what we know now, the attack appears to have been defeated and ineffective. And this is testament to Israeli military capability and U.S. military. It's also a testament to intensive planning between the United States and Israel to anticipate and defend against the brazen attack we expected. Make no mistake, the United States is fully supportive of Israel. And I've been spent the morning and part of the afternoon in the Situation Room, and meeting with my whole national security team and consulting with the Israelis indirectly because in terms of their impact on us. And the national security team has been, as I said, in constant contact with Israeli officials and their counterparts.
Earlier today, I was in the Situation Room with President Biden and our national security team as we monitored the attack in real time and ensured that the protection of U.S. personnel in the region is paramount. I fully support President Biden's order for the U.S. military to shoot down Iranian missiles targeting Israel, just as we did in April. We are still assessing the impact, but initial indications are that Israel, with our assistance, was able to defeat this attack. Our joint defenses have been effective, and this operation and successful cooperation saved many innocent lives. As I have said, I will always ensure Israel has the ability to defend itself against Iran and Iran-backed terrorist militias. My commitment to the security of Israel is unwavering. And let us be clear, Iran is not only a threat to Israel, Iran is also a threat to American personnel in the region, American interests, and innocent civilians across the region who suffer at the hands of Iran-based and backed terrorist proxies. We will never hesitate to take whatever action is necessary to defend U.S. forces and interests against Iran and Iran-backed terrorists. And we will continue to work with our allies and partners to disrupt Iran's aggressive behavior and hold them accountable.
And it's not just the United States of America, it's also the United Kingdom which is supporting Israel in this escalated aggression by Iran after Israel targeted southern Lebanon. Now, Prime Minister of UK, Keir Starmer, has warned that the Middle East is on the brink in a televised Downing Street address following Iran's missile attack on Israel. Take a look.
Last few hours, the Iranian regime has launched over 200 ballistic missiles at civilian targets in Israel. It's too soon to assess the impact fully, but I utterly condemn this attempt by the Iranian regime to harm innocent Israelis, to escalate this incredibly dangerous situation and push the region ever closer to the brink. It cannot be tolerated. We stand with Israel, and we recognise her right to self-defence in the face of this aggression. Iran must stop these attacks, together with its proxies like Hezbollah. Iran has menaced the Middle East for far too long. Chaos and destruction brought not just to Israel, but to the people they live amongst in Lebanon and beyond. Make no mistake, Britain stands full square against such violence. We support Israel's reasonable demand for the security of its people. I've spoken today to Prime Minister Netanyahu, the King of Jordan, President Macron, and Chancellor Scholz. In the last week, I've also spoken to other leaders, including Prime Minister McCarthy of Lebanon, President Abbas, the leader of the Palestinian Authority, to try to find the space for a political solution to the conflicts in Lebanon and Gaza, because I am deeply concerned that the region is on the brink, and I'm deeply concerned about the risk of miscalculation. The situation in Lebanon is increasingly grave. I want to repeat my advice to British nationals who are still in Lebanon. You must leave now. You should register your presence with government officials on our website. We have a chartered flight, and we're doing everything we can to get people out. But the situation is extremely volatile. So if you have the means to leave, the time is now. Do not wait.
And taking this back to my guests who are with me on the broadcast, Major General Savach, you just heard the responses that are coming in from the United States of America, also the United Kingdom, the key aspect of condemnation of Iran is on the fact that they are targeting innocent human lives, innocent Israelis, who are there in the country. What about the innocent Palestinians, or what about the innocent people of Lebanon who turned out to be collaterals in the face of the Israeli attack? Israel had pounded Gaza. Israel then ended up, sending out missiles to Lebanon, and that's exactly was what the other aspect of this international criticism really was, because we did see how Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, was giving that speech at the UNGA. He, in fact, decided to hold his ground and stand by the attack that Israel is planning on doing, and they will do anything to defend its people. And that saw a diplomatic walkout. Half of the UNGA really had all of these leaders walk out in the middle of that speech. What do you have to say about that sort of a response that Israel is getting in the face of this escalation that the country is also doing, and also the accusation of it involving itself and indulging in war crimes?
No doubt. See, what happened on 7th October done by Hamas was a genocide. It was a terrorist action. And the complete public opinion of the world was with Israel. But certainly when the Israel has gone into Gaza, and then there was civilian casualty, now the casualties are more